This was a 72-man men's choral group, Midwesterners, Bible Belt. The song, The Prayer, from the opera Lohengrin, singing that song with these towering, soaring chords and with that rumbling resonance oozing up from the floorboards, from the soil, from the ground of being, you had a direct experience of the presence of the source. I don't know how else to put it. And Lang had this beautiful passage. I want to read it again, where he's talking about there have been profound changes in the experience of man in the last 1,000 years. There is everything to suggest that man experienced God. That's what I'm talking about when we sang that prayer from Lohengrin. We had a direct experience of that presence. Faith, Lang goes on, was never a matter of believing. Never a matter of just conjuring up, geez, I hope God exists. I'm scared. God, I need you. I don't know if you're around, but please help me, God. If you're there, not that kind of stuff. Faith was never a matter of believing. God existed in the, here's the word, in the presence. God existed in the presence that was a self-validating experience. Singing in that choral group was a self-validating experience. There was no doubt that God's presence was filling that hall and filling each of us, or it certainly was filling me. I can't speak for the other 71. It was filling me. It was a self-validating experience. Paul of Tarsus was picked up by the scruff of the neck, thrown to the ground, and blinded for 3 days. Lang goes on. This direct experience was self-validating. And here he concludes with just, to me, that just sums it all up. It seems likely that far more people in our time experience neither the presence of God nor the presence of his absence, but the absence of his presence. This is what we're seeing all around us with the way people are behaving. We're saying, why is there this moral breakdown in our personal lives and in the news each day, nationally and internationally? Where has this moral fiber vanished to? Well, because that far more people in our time have never experienced God's presence, and they wouldn't even know the presence of his absence. All they know is the absence of his presence. There is no God. So anything is permissible when you've never experienced the presence. After Paul of Tarsus, after Saul was thrown to the ground and blinded for 3 days, that was a life-altering experience. Jesus spoke to him out of the blinding light. Why are you persecuting me, Saul? This was a direct experience, self-validating, of the presence of the source. And overnight, Saul became Paul. The murderer, the persecutor of the Christian community, became its strongest advocate. Those of us who are imbued with this presence, along with that comes a certain code of behavior. As shamans, we are in the business of generating this presence of the source, not only for our own delight and enjoyment, but to bring this presence to the community as a self-validating direct experience. And with that presence that is permeated comes its own inherent morality. So in another passage, Lang talks about some people make believe their experience. Some people make believe their faith. Others are made to believe by their experience. Paul of Tarsus, he was made to believe by his experience. That direct experience of the presence of the Lord compelled him to believe. Or thank you, Lord, for your presence. Thank you, Lord, for being with me always. That wasn't just an empty hope of faith grounded only in his head. That was grounded in his own experience.